So you're thinking about booking your first Disney cruise, or maybe first in a while. Let's talk about everything that you need to know before we actually start planning the real stuff. So let's talk about, first of all, one of my first questions is going to be, how many nights are you looking for? So a cruise vacation is very different than a land vacation. So I can take a 3-night land vacation and make it a full 4-day trip, right? Because I can get there early in the morning on my first day. I would have all day that day. I would have the next 2 days, and then we could decide to leave late on our departure day. However, with a cruise, that's not really how it works. So whenever we're talking about a 3-night cruise, just remember you aren't going to board the ship until the afternoon of your arrival day, and you are going to be getting off of the ship early in the morning on your departure day. So just remember, a 3-night cruise is really more like a 2.5-day vacation. A 4-night cruise is more like a 3.5-day vacation. A 5-night cruise is 4.5. So just keep that in mind whenever I'm asking you how many nights that you're looking for. Make sure that you are not going to be disappointed with your time on the ship, because you know what to expect. But also whenever I'm asking you about your dates, now, I'm going to ask you preferred dates. If you are just looking for the best pricing in February, for example, I can price out lots of options for you and give you what the best pricing is that month. However, what I want you to do is, whenever we're talking about dates for your work schedule, your travel schedule, we always want you to arrive in your port city, so the city that the ship is departing from, the day before you're sailing. So if your sailing is leaving on a Sunday, I want you in that city, or at least very close to that city, on Saturday. Because if you are flying in the day of your cruise and your flight gets delayed, the ship is not going to wait for you. So when we're talking about timing, if you have to work that Saturday, then we do not want to schedule a cruise that leaves that Sunday, because we do not want you arriving same day. So when we are talking about your schedule, think about how many really days you want in your trip, and make sure that the number of nights on your sailing matches that. And then let's also think about your vacation time, your work schedule, your travel schedule, and we want you to get there 1 day early. So that's timing. Another thing is location. So Disney Cruise Line sails from several different ports in the United States. They sail from several in Florida, of course. Those are the most popular: Port Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. But they also have some, what I'm going to call non-traditional ports, seasonal ports for them. That would be like Galveston, Texas, San Diego, California. They sail from Vancouver to Alaska, but also to Hawaii. They sail Honolulu to Vancouver if you want to do a trans-Pacific cruise. So there are lots of options for ports. Keep in mind, obviously the one that works best for you is the one that works best for you. But if you have a lot of flexibility, the sailings from Fort Lauderdale, for example, are usually cheaper than the sailings from Port Canaveral. And that's just because a lot of people like to combine Walt Disney World and a cruise. So Port Canaveral does tend to be the most popular port. So since the demand is higher, the prices are a little bit higher there. So that's that is your departure city. Obviously, also with the itineraries, there are lots of different destination options, tons of Caribbean sailings to talk about. We have Hawaii, we have Australia, we obviously have Europe in summer of 2025, and then Alaska also in summer of 2025. So lots of different itinerary options. So if you're talking about warm weather, you might want Caribbean. If you want something tropical, you might want Hawaii. The Hawaii cruises are really long, so it also depends on your timing. So things like that you might want to think about before we get started. And if you have any questions about ports, just feel free to reach out and we can chat. But then the next most popular question that I get from people is, what all is included in your cruise? So your cruise fare includes, obviously, your accommodations on the ship, your dining. You do not have to spend another dime on food if you don't want to. That includes dining in the main dining rooms. It includes the food on the pool deck. And it also includes restaurants on Disney's resort areas, meaning at Castaway Cay and at Lookout Cay. The restaurants there are included. Also, room service is included, although I do recommend you tip your server. Soft drinks are also included on Disney Cruise Line, which I know is not normal with most cruise lines. Soft drinks would be more. However, they are included with Disney Cruise Line, as well as like coffee and tea. Entertainment, so character greetings, Broadway style shows in the ships every single night. Obviously, tons of trivia, drawing classes. There will be something to do every moment, I promise. All of that is included. The kids clubs for ages 3 and up are all included. No additional charge for that at all. Your kids are going to love them. My kids, I can hardly pry them out of there. And then the movies. So Disney Cruise Line shows new release movies, meaning movies that are in theaters. They show them on the ships. Those are free also. So lots of entertainment included, the kids club, your food. You could theoretically go on a Disney cruise, and the only additional cost that you would have above your cruise fare would be your gratuities. Gratuities are calculated pretty standard. They're $14.50 a night per person, or $15.50 a night per person if you're doing concierge. That is just to recognize your stateroom hosts, your servers and stuff. So you could go on a cruise and spend nothing more than your cruise fare and your gratuities. However, if you want to do extra things, you can do that. The kids club for 3 and up are included. There is a nominal charge for the nursery, which is for kids 6 months to 3 years that are not potty trained. It's 6 months to 3. If you have a 3-year-old who's not potty trained, they can also go to the nursery because they can't go to the kids club. So it is cheap. I think it is $4.50 per half hour. So you're looking at like $9 an hour. A great deal. Believe me, we utilize it for my daughter, and she loves it. So the nursery is a little bit extra if you want to do specialty dining. So that would be like adults only dining. That is an additional cost. There are some specialty dining options, like in the bars. They will have like appetizers that you can order. Those are an additional cost. Some of the ships have a sweet shop, like an ice cream shop, that is extra, but you can also get ice cream on the pool deck for free. So those are an additional cost. Alcohol is an additional cost, so keep that in mind. And then your port adventures, your photo packages, spa treatments. If you want to do, like a mixology class and alcohol tasting, those are going to be extra, but those are also totally optional. So if you don't want to do them, you don't have to do them. And then the only other thing that I want you to think about in your budget is, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to recommend that you arrive in your departure city 1 day early. So you're going to have a night of hotel. You'll obviously have your flights, and you will have transfers. If you're not going to be driving, you will have transfers to and from either the airport or your hotel. So those are the only things that you would need to kind of budget extra for. But if you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I love talking about Disney Cruise Line, and I'm looking forward to planning with you.